and let's start. You know now a lot about testing technologies, testing methodology, different type of testing, different testing approaches, different levels of the testing. Now you learn all the things. What are we going to do with it? How are you going to use them? We start the project and we will use all the theoretical knowledge that you receive from Michael on that project. We will test web-based application. So let me start from the simple questions. When we are talking about applications, what type of applications you can consider, you can think about? Can you please write down, if you don't mind? What type of applications you used, your experience? I understand that you are heavy computer users because yes, bank application. Yeah, Tasha, it's amazing what you wrote here. What you wrote, and Alexander as well, web, desktop, mobile, absolutely. We can think about different type of the applications. What does it mean, desktop? When we are talking about desktop applications, what does it mean? Let's think. I believe that desktop application is the application that just installed to your computer independently and doesn't need anything else. You just install, either you installed it from the internet or you installed it from the some disk, whatever, doesn't matter, right? The situation is that it's independent application that consists of one part. It just installed on your application. It runs on the single memory. Front end and back end are on the same place. Examples of such desktop applications. What you can think about? Okay. You are still... Absolutely, Microsoft Office. Yes, webinar app. What about the Notepad, the simplest, right, editor that we use? Absolutely. Paint. Yes, you're great. You're great. This is the examples of desktop, or sometimes they called stand-alone application. Now, let's think about client-server application. Let me type it here. Client-server applications. What does it mean? We understand that this, even the name says that it runs on few machines, 2 or more. It's probably have something like a client. It has something like a server side, right? And probably we can think that they somehow can connect between themselves, the client and server parts, right? And let's think about something like banking. Banking, not online banking, but when you come to the bank and talk to teller, he or she have something, sometimes we even call dummy monitor. They have very limited part on the client. All the logic, all the connection, all the activities, database data storage happens on the server side remotely. They connected between themselves through network. Mostly those type of applications happen still used in the office for the LAN, local area network. And of course they have limited number of users, no more than 50. Okay, 50 clients can be connected, up to 50 clients, can be connected to one server. Well, now let's talk about web-based application. And when we are talking about the web-based application, can we think about it like about type of the client server? You know, guys, I believe so. I do believe so. But what does it mean? What is the client in this case? What is the server in that case? Client is just simply browser. You don't need anything. You just have your computer operating system, and you have to install the browser that resides on your operation system. That's it. Nothing else you should know. You should have just the URL. You just type http www, let's say portnow.com or something else. How did you get it? What happened? All things, everything, the code, the database, all the logic, all the jobs, all the scripts, everything happens on the remote server. This is the reason why it's extremely popular and used everywhere. Everywhere now there is the internet connection. Everyone, this browser is free. Just install it and use. Who cares, right? That's why it's extremely popular, and everything is everywhere the web application is used. In the bank even, I gave the example that it can be the client server when all the logic, the teller just using his or her login, and when you swipe your bank card, he or she get the access to your account. They are very limited. Now they change all the stuff with the client server, with the web-based. They do the same activities much faster. You don't have to manage all the LAN, all the stuff, and everything else. Okay. I just told that on the client side, we have the browser. Let's review what is the browser. And guys, I will show you and I will tell you how to get it. Whatever you see here on the page, this is very brief, very high level diagram of the web-based application. Let me zoom it a little bit more so everyone can see it. We were talking about that this is something that we can consider as a client-server application, which has the client side. Let's see. You see now I just move my mouse and I show you here the client side. What is the client side? This is the web browser that resides. You have the computer. Each computer has the operating system. Web browser is one of the applications that installed and resides on the operating system. What operating system we talk about? Oh, it can be different. Windows, Ubuntu, this is Ubuntu Linux, Red Hat Linux, Unix, HP Unix, Mac, multiple various operating systems. What browsers we know? Also a lot. Internet Explorer and Opera, which is very popular in Europe, not so much popular in the United States. Safari, Mozilla Firefox, Google Chrome. By the way, what is the name of the latest version of the Internet Explorer? Who knows? Edge, absolutely, absolutely. We are talking about Edge. So there is no Internet Explorer anymore for Windows 10. There is Edge browser with the name Edge, which was introduced with the Windows 10. Wonderful, amazing. By the way, I still didn't use it, but people say that this is something amazing. We are talking about other devices that don't necessarily the desktop. It can be the mobile device. It can be the iPad, tablet, smartphones, because we also can have the web applications via on our mobile devices. They use the mobile browsers like Opera, Safari, Explorer. Again, the same Chrome, you can see, yes, that resides on operating system like iOS, Android, Windows Mobile, and other, right? And we have the browser. Now, how does it connect? You should have when we say www, right? The connection, the network. And we have, you very often have HTTP or HTTPS. This is kind of the protocol. And this network, internet, use those protocols that you get here. And the request is sent to the server side. Okay, server side, to the web server. So, what happened? The request, post, or get is sending through the internet to the web server. So, when you type www.portnov.com, what happened? First of all, there is something that called DNS, Domain Name Services. Okay? What they do, what it does, it translates the domain name, because the URL for any website has the domain name. Like in portnov.com, Portnov is the domain name. But computer doesn't understand the domain name. It doesn't understand Facebook. It doesn't understand LinkedIn. It doesn't understand portnov.com. We have to translate, literally translate this domain name to the IP address, which is unique for each and any computer. And then when you type, by the way, I will use in my lectures, in my presentations during our meetings, you will hear from me from time to time, interview question. It means please pay attention. So the interview question, what happened when you type on the browser www.portnov.com, or when you type any address? If you are end user, just regular user, you will say, oh, if I type the URL, the home page of this application is displayed, or whatever page that has this. Yes, but you are now going to be QA engineers, testers, IT specialists. So this answer is not great. What happened? As I started, first, DNS, Domain Name Services, translates the domain name into unique IP address. Then the request is sent through the internet, and just, kind of knocking. Hi, is it your email address? No, let's go ahead and ask again and again and again. When it finds the computer with that IP address, wonderful. It finds the web server, and here, oh yes, we recognize this IP address. This is really portnov.com, and we send the response back to the browser. So the result is you see the page. Okay, the application server side, it consists on few tiers. We are talking that web application, this is at least, let me write it down, at least 3 tier application. Tier, part, element Why three? First is the client. Second is the web server. Third, the application server. When we have all the logic, all the scripts, all the jobs are running, sometimes web server and application server can be one tier on one machine. And finally, they connect to the database because database has the storage. It stores all our applications or our information, I mean data. Let's say in order to get the facebook.com, you have to log in. How do you have you logged in? You on the browser, on the login page, you put your login name, username, you add your password, you press the button submit or OK or sign in, whatever. The request is sent to the server. Oh, it found it, great, but then we need more. We have to find out if there is user with such credentials that you provided, right? So what happened? The select statement is run to the database. Is it user with the username Janna, with the password Janna123? Or if yes, we send the response. Yes, truth. And it let me, I see myself as logged in. If I make the typo, if I use the wrong, invalid credentials, the result is false. And I get the error message, right? This is the very simple, very primitive diagram for the web application. So again, web application, this is at least 3 tiers application. It can be much more because we very often have different tiers for the web server, which is responsible for the connection. For the application server or back-end server, very often the server side, you will hear they call it back end versus the client side is the front end. Whatever the end user can see on the browser, this is the front end. And it uses following technology. We see all our pages, or on mobile devices we do not use the word page but screen. So everything that we see on the web pages or screens are HTML code, right? Hypertext markup language. Everything is displayed with HTML. To add the interaction and to make it look nice, attractive, we use other technology like JavaScript, like CSS, the style sheet, how the page align, how it looks. We use the Flash. Sometimes you see the animation on the page. This is the Flash and other stuff, other technology. On the back end, it's usually the operating system like Windows Server, Linux, Ubuntu, mostly Apache. They used the Unix or Linux operating system. And databases, what type of database we know? It can be the Oracle database, it can be Microsoft Server, it can be MySQL, which is open source. Open source, it's free, right? And different, even DB2, I don't know who else uses it, or Microsoft Access. By the way, very good and nice. I used it and I like it. So, what is the browser? What do you think is the browser? I want to see how you understand what is the browser. Everyone has the browser. You use it all the time. What is it? What is the browser? Client, this is what we learned, this is the client. But what it is? This is client not for backend side. This is the client for web application. So yes, this is the software. This is the software. After all, what is the browser? We know we can install, uninstall, we can update to the newer version, right? This is the software application. This is the software program, right? It's used to access the internet. Browser is the software that is used to access the internet. It's allowed us to visit websites and do different activities on the site. Because did you realize that there are different sites? One, it can be just informative, like you get the information, newsletters, online newsletters, right? You just open them to see the news, even to click on some links to be redirected to some articles, but this is not the real interaction. You don't have to log in. You don't have to retrieve your data. Let's say when we are talking about banking online application. First of all, in order to get in, you have to log in, and it's very secured, right? Second, you want to see your account status. You are able to pay bills online. You are able to transfer money from one account to another, right? So now I come to the interview questions, one of the favorite Google interview questions. What is the difference between website and web applications? Tricky. Both of them are reaching with the browser. Both of them are the same. Both of them are using remote server for the stuff. But we can tell a thing about websites versus web application. This is one of the favorite Google questions. So, what can you think about it? Please, what do you consider to be the website? Yes, this is confused. And this is very easy to confuse. Well, you're typing, but I don't want to lose our time, so let me continue to talk, and when I see something, we will review. My dear, so when we are talking about website, the primary role of the website is to inform. It doesn't require the real interaction between you as an end user and the site and the server. You don't have to log in. You don't have to do anything else. You do not post your comments. You do not update your photo or upload your photo. You don't do anything. You just get the information. You can say, wait a second. Every day we get the new stuff on the same newsletter. So it's kind of the dynamic site. Yes, it's dynamic, but it's still very informational, right? It's very informational. When we are talking about web application, we consider dynamic, interactive systems. It helps business to perform their task. It helps user to provide some feedbacks, to do the work, to submit it, to work with database and other things. For example, Facebook is a website or web application. App, absolutely, this is the web application. This is the web application. It's required logging in. When we are talking about NewYorkTimes.com or CNN.com, CNN News, is it website or web application? Of course, this is website. This is informative site. This is we get the information. I really wanted us to understand and to be able that we can answer this question. Okay? More, we can talk about different types of applications. And you already, web applications. Now we are talking about different type of web applications. Before we were talking about different types of applications, and we found out, we discovered that applications can be stand-alone or desktop, single application, right? Stand-alone, the name says for itself. We can talk about client-server application. Guys, we can talk about web-based application. It means that they use the browser, and via browser can reach the site, website or web application. We forgot probably about the mobile applications that also can have the three types. You will have the mobile technology later, and you will learn all the things. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about the web-based applications. What type of the web-based application you can say? So, web application. We already talked about what is the web application. We were talking about the web application structure when we reviewed the diagram that we had. Now, what type of applications we can think about? Somebody already mentioned online banking. We can have financial applications, right? When we can manage our money. We have the e-commerce applications, right? Like eBay, like Amazon.com, right? We were talking about the business to business, B2B. You will hear the applications that dedicated completely for the business. Let's say HR, human resources application. You join the company and human resources add record about you to their database, to their application. This is B2B. This application is developed. There is the application B2C, business to customers. Many pages, retailers or other stuff. You buy something from the business, from the site directly. So this is kind of consumer application, so it means B2C. There are other applications, C2C, customer to customer, okay? So guys, I put here that common web application, email, enterprise, instant messaging, news groups, online office, online banking, shopping cart software, conferencing, social network, and other stuff. Okay, and now probably it's time to tell you how to get this stuff. So, all the stuff, you know, I came from the company with the name Cartoon, where I am the QA director, and I put here all the stuff that I'm ready to share with you. So I would like you to type data.portnov.com Janna. Let me put it on the Skype so you all see it. This site, to get there, this is my shared drive network when I post all the documentation, all the materials, in my opinion, useful, that will help you in many things. This site requires the login. The login is, the username is student, the password is lesson. With those credentials, everything lowercase, you can get to my page. Are you successful? Is somebody who cannot get it? Please don't forget that Janna should be spelling with the capital J. Otherwise, you will not get it. So this is the URL. When you log in, you get these things. What I put here, because I told you that I don't have any secrets from you, and I'm working on many different projects, okay? Here you will find the stuff that we already used when I talked the application types. And the project that we are going to work on is Care2. You see here the folder, let me highlight it. Care2 online project. I would like you to click on this link and you are now inside of that folder. So application types, we were talking about it. Web application, this is the diagrams that we reviewed, right? Now let's talk about a little bit about what types of testing, what things we are going to execute on our project. Again, as I mentioned in the beginning when we started, that we are going to use all the theoretical knowledge that you receive during first 6 sessions. So again, there is static dynamic testing approach, black, gray, white, manual and automation. There are functional and non-functional, and we will use the positive, negative, boundary condition technique, which is very important, and this is when I show now the negative and boundary condition. This is the situation, this is exactly the techniques when we find the biggest number of bugs. And again, the interview question, when do you find the more bugs? When you run positive or negative testing? But of course, when we run negative, and you all know about it, right? Different non-functional testing, type of testings, reliability, usability, compatibility, UI, localization, internalization, performance, whatever I have the color in the green, this is what we are going to do. And of course, I don't know why, but for some reason I forgot, because we are going to run the UI, graphical user interface, or GUI testing, right? Now, when we are talking about different types of testing. Smoke test or build acceptance testing, exploratory testing, regression testing, and the testing we are going to create test cases and run the testing. So far, any questions about what we already did? Wonderful. So this is great. Negative. Yes. Absolutely. You are amazing. Any questions, my dear? 1 minute to get the questions. No questions? Wonderful. Let's move ahead. So, we were talking that we know about different type of the applications. And one of those is social network. What types of social network applications you know? Please write down. Any social network applications that you used, that we all use. Social network, please, 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 please. Facebook, absolutely yes. Facebook, Skype, LinkedIn, professional. Guys, you're amazing. Even odnoklassniki.ru. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, we are going to test one of the social network application. The application name is care2.com. Okay? Care2.com is the application that we are going to test. So let's open it and I will tell you about the application. As you see, even here, this is the social network application, and now it has already more than 38 million members. My dear, here in the folder you have one file that called info care2 petitions. I put all the information about this project, about the stuff that we need here on one document, because I hate when you have to look for 10,000 documents to get the information. So I tried to put everything here. The company, Care2. The application's URL, it has two domain name, two URL. One care2.com, another petitionsite.com. We are going to use the Bugzilla bug tracking system. This is the great, wonderful bug tracking system tool for filing the bugs. We just go now again, if you don't know, we go through the document info care2 petition online project. By the end of our meetings, you should be able, and I'm sorry, but I will use even the word must. I don't like to use such a strong words, but this is the goal. This is the goal why we are here. You must be able on the following question. What is the application about you tested? What does it mean? If you come on the interview and say, I tested the application Care2, probably no one except you and other 38 million members of this application have no idea what it is about. If you say that I tested the Google search, or I tested Facebook, or something like that, probably you don't have to add much more information. But when you say Care2, you probably want to tell something about it. You want to say that this is the social network application, what is dedicated, who is the audience, and people who join this application, what they do. You probably even want to tell few words about the company. You might, or you may, or you may not be asked about it. At least you should be ready to tell about that. Any bug that you're proud of, because of course, if you say that I tested the application, it means that you did something. And the result, the goal, purpose of the testing, goal of any testing, purpose, to find mismatch between actual application, how it looks, how it works, what it does, versus expected. And this mismatch is the bug. So you cannot, you say, yeah, I reported the bugs into Bugzilla bug tracking system. And you should want to be ready for the question. Wow, can you please describe me at least one bug that it was very critical for you, that is really memorable to you, that is the bug that you are proud of? And you cannot stay for 10 minutes and just think, oh my God, do I remember any bug? Did I actually enter or file any bug? What do they ask me about? What the hell they ask me about? You definitely should have on the top of your head, you should have about the bug. You should talk about the bug. You weren't lucky to report the bug? Don't worry. You go to Bugzilla and we will talk about it and read. And I don't mind if you describe any bug that is filed into Bugzilla bug tracking system. Okay? And the most important question, let me highlight it. Tell me about your activities on the project. How did you test? How did you test? What did you do? Right? Probably you just were watching how other people were working. Or what you actually did on that during those activities. Okay? What did you do? So there are the questions that you have to be able to answer. Because on the interview, they want to know everything about you. Everything. Even including the some forbidden question that not allowed. like how old are you, how much money you make, are you married or not, whatever. People just curious. This is the human being curiosity. All those questions are forbidden, and you know about it, what religious you are, what the party you belong, and other things. But they want to know everything about you. So they will ask you the legal questions, the questions that allowed. And one of the questions, tell me about your previous experience. Tell me about your background. Tell me about the applications that you tested. Tell me about the projects that you recently worked on. All those questions that I ask, it's actually the same question. It has the same answer. No matter how they ask the question is the same. Tell me about the projects that you tested, and tell me exactly what you tested and what you did. So let me now tell you about the application. I did my homework, and exactly on this document I wrote the brief information about the company. You really don't want to spend a lot of time and to have a very detailed things about the company. They may not, maybe that's not interesting. If they ask, you want to answer. But if they don't ask, you don't have to answer, okay? Just this is good that you know what it is about, okay? I put here the information about the application, because I entered the number of members growing very rapidly and very aggressively. When I created this document and upload online, it was 32 million. As you see today, as soon as we open CARE 2, you see that this is already more than 38, almost 39 million members, and very soon it will be 40, right? Now, I put here this information. I put what are the main features, right? And what are my activities. This is actually the bullet points that you should be able to add to your resume. Of course, you will modify, you will make your bullet points, but mostly this is what you did. My dear, I would like us to use the professional terminology. You don't want to use the street language when you create test cases, when you report the bugs, defects, when you answer about your activities on the project and other things. We should use the correct, right, professional language and terminology. This is the reason why I put here a couple of the links that I really recommend you to read. You know better than you watch some movie or read some detective. This is much more useful. First of all, you learn a lot. Second, you will fall asleep right away. It's very sorry, good even in this case. So it is very important to understand what elements are using on the website or web application. Here you see the correct name of those elements and their purpose. And you never say I select checkbox, because checkbox can be only checked or unchecked. You do not select checkbox. I check checkbox. When you describe and write test cases, you have this element that has to be checked, you just put first, enter something, second, checkbox, in or out or whatever. Another thing, radio buttons. Not like checkbox, it can be only one. Even here when they display, this is the bug, because on the radio button, one of the radio button always has to be selected. So we do not check radio button, we select radio button, okay? One item at the time. So even if you have 10 radio buttons, only one can be selected, not like on the checkbox as many as needed can be checked. We have different elements, and I'm sure that you saw and met all those elements on the various applications that you use every day on your everyday life. So this is the assignment. Homework to learn the stuff, to open care2.com application, to look, to try to understand and find those elements on the sites. Interview question. What typical parts of the website/web applications? You want to answer as following. Each or almost every website or web application consists of following main parts. Header on the top. This part almost never change, okay? It's not changeable. You switch from page to page, from component to component. The site is not changed. It's called header. Okay. Oh yes, you should not look into Bugzilla on Care2. Glor, to answer your question, guys, I cannot make you, and Michael too, that you are talking about this particular project, one or other that we are working. The part of our curriculum is that we are working on two applications. We are testing two different types of applications. One of those web, another one is mobile application, right? If you have the previous experience, good for you, great for you. It means that you tested, that you smelled, that you were feeling the real work environment, the real application. Why do not tell about this? Probably you used different bug tracking system. Probably you were working with different tools. Why not? Okay, so this is what happened. Right, so back to our question. Each website, typical website where application consists of the header, of the body, and here when we are on the web-based, oh my god, it looks so ugly. Sorry. We are talking about Care2. We have the header, we have the body, and the body, this is three columns body. And each and any application has the informational footer. It can be large, like here, it can be small. And it can be any, you see even here, my dear. This is the header, usability.gov. And again, sometimes question is, who set the standards? Guys, no one. No one. 10 years ago, 20 years ago, Microsoft. It was leader on all the web development. It set all the standards for the web development. They still sometimes believe that they are very strong and they can dictate. No one. Now the kids in the school, they know how to create a website. Now many people have own website. Just because they like it, they want to play, because you don't have to have any development skills. There are so many tools that help you to create the website. You can purchase the domain name, probably $5 per month, daddy.com or something like that, right? But because the world and life are so dynamic, I can say even aggressive, lasting very fast. People use the applications, new software, different type of software appear every day. And no one wants to read 200-page manual in order to use the application. we really don't want, right? When you purchase something in the, I don't know, Home Depot or some device, who now read the manual? I personally read only when after I try everything and I already broke something, so I think probably it makes sense to read the manual, right? The same about the applications, the software. No one wants. Applications have to be really intuitive. So when you just come to the page, you understand that if I press somewhere something do, it's very easy to understand what happened. Navigation should be easy. Your behavior should be intuitive. This is the reason why people want to use and development company want to use some standards. So this is recommendation. No one would to tell you you must use, but they recommend, please use some elements that people understand what it is about, that people are really familiar with, that people are not confused, right? So here even you on the top, when we were talking about the header, and now we come to the body, it also has something. Here is the logo, not the logo. This is the very interesting toolbar, left hand bar, and this is you have the right hand navigation bar. They may ask you what the pages, what it's here. After you use this, you will see that this type of menu, when from any level you can come to any other level, high or low, called the breadcrumbs menu. Being on user interface elements, you can immediately navigate and go and click to any level, not just parents, the one step up, but any. This element called breadcrumbs menu. You have many icons that have to be very clear. And again, this is the header. This is the body. Let's scroll down. I really expect, yes, we have the informational footer. The very google.com, we already by default we get it. Very simple, or even, right? Such a simple stuff. It also has here, this is the footer. You see, guys, this is the footer. This is the body. This is on the top. This is the header. This page doesn't have many elements, but still it has it. So back to our cartoon. So what we are going to do, and our homework for next session, which happen on Thursday. I would like to ask you really to play with the site, to read about it, to understand what it is about. As you see here, our credo of our company, our slogan is, you care, we care too, like we also care. This is the social site, the community that join people who care. They care about our life. They care about our planet. They care about our future. They care about our kids. They care about different good causes. They care about good. This is one of the largest community for good things. Here you see this is our colleagues, the places, the site that we work with, that type or have our staff on their site. This is the sites when they can find. We have different modules, and you see the different tabs here with a lot of stuff. This is about the healthy living and all the stuff, about various of great, wonderful causes. As you see, the animal welfare, women's rights, food, LGBT, civil rights, environments, some blogs that we have, other activities. People can join in groups by interest. So this is the real stuff. For some activities, you don't have to be a member just to read the news, the hottest stuff, the news. You go to the causes and you see wonderful things. We have our application is integrated with a lot of social network. You see here, it's called, by the way, social network toolbar. So you can like it, you can share it on the Facebook, you can share it on Twitter, Pinterest, Google+, you can email, and even more, you can add comments. Of course, to do some things, like to add comment, you can only when you join the sign. But even more, let's click on the Facebook. What you see here, they let you to use Open Facebook ID. It's called like that, Open Facebook ID. You don't need to create Car2 credentials. You can use it. You don't have it, no Facebook, no problem. Go ahead and create Car2 account, right? Very simple. You have to provide some information. You have to follow the instruction that we have. And this is very important for the testing and test cases that we are going to use. You have to prove that you are not the robot. And for this, we use the CAPTCHA. Probably you really want to know what is the CAPTCHA, right? CAPTCHA. You use it for all different applications that require you to create account and log in to prove that you are not the robot, to make sure that you cannot hack the application, that you cannot damage it and abuse. Okay. Your homework. First, okay, let me write down. Homework to run exploratory testing of Car2.com. What does it mean? To understand what are main components modules of the application. To understand, identifying main components and modules. When we are talking about components, this is the set of features that join. Let's say we have here some components, usability bug, like what petitions do, what causes do, what healthy living do, what rewards are doing. To read my document on the dataportnov.com Janna Car2 online projects, especially this document, to read and find the information about Car2 as the company. By the way, when you go here on the footer, you see here about us. So you understand what happened, what we are doing, how many signatures of the petitions, what are our partners, what we are success stories, what we are doing. Okay, this is about us. So to know, to find as much information as possible. Okay? What's that? My goodness. I just put you, enter it. I don't know what you wrote here. But, yes, I do write. I already started to write the homework, my dear. So I already wrote here, and let me highlight again the homework. No, for exploratory testing we never write test cases. How can you write test cases? You write test cases when you understand and know the application very well. So you start your activities from exploratory testing. Why? Because you didn't get the application, the requirements. Because you don't know anything about it. Guys, homework. Here I highlighted to run exploratory testing on the site care2.com. Okay? On care2.com. I don't know what do you mean when you're talking about laststage.com. I don't know why. We are talking, guys, please follow me. The homework is run exploratory testing on the www.care2.com. What does it mean, exploratory testing? You didn't receive? Homework. First, exploratory testing on www.care2.com. Second, read the document okay, and try to find all elements on the care2.com site. To understand, well, it's a little bit different. You are reaching the page to get in student lesson. You find all the information there. No, you should not document any result of test. And exploratory testing, when you run it and you have the fresh eyes, my dear, when you see some issues, defects, problems, confusions, and other things, please make the notes. Next time we will talk about test cases and the bug reports, and we will start to use Bugzilla. What question he can explain, I don't know. You don't want to report yet any issues. You explore the site. You explore very good that you wrote about the site structure. You identify the main modules and features of the site. You go to the Google and try to find out as much information as you can about the care2.com company, about Care2 application, about what it does, why it does. You have enough documents. Whatever I have on the data portnov.com/Janna, this is the information that would be very useful for you, because I put there the real test cases, the real test plan, the real stuff and information from the real project, real company. And I really would like to share with you. Today we just had the introduction. We were talking about the web-based applications, and it's also very important that you can answer the questions. Difference between website and web application. Actually, what is the web application? What is the basic structure of or architecture of the web-based application? You have to understand different types of applications. You have to understand how to get the website. You have to understand what happens when you type the URL. We were talking about these things today. On the next sessions, next meetings, we will talk very precisely about the Care2 application. Another things, guys, I'm now the member of this group on the Skype January 3. If you have questions, please ask. You can ask personally, you can ask in the group, because of course it's very hard, almost impossible to answer personally to everyone. But if you have the questions that may be interesting for many people, please ask in the group. I will try to answer in our chat group. Also, my email address that you can use with the questions. I write it down. Okay, is the jannapetition@gmail.com. Yes, the session is recording, absolutely, like all other sessions. Homework due is Thursday. Today is Tuesday. Next time we meeting on Thursday. So you are going to be extremely busy. Okay, my dear, I would like to stop recording, and it was great to meet you today and to work with you today. Please ask the questions.